Welcome back, everybody, to the Excellecore Real Estate channel. My name is Jeremy Rickard. I'm the broker of Excellecore Real Estate right here in sunny Central Florida. And today I want to talk about winning the contract. And so there was a would you rather posed to me. Would I rather play the game with never having the opportunity to win, or never play the game because I couldn't win? And my personality type would be, I'd rather not play if I can't win. I would just rather not play. I would like to know what your personality type is. If you were posed that would you rather, how would you answer? Would you rather be able to play even though you could never win, or you just would rather, I just never play the game. I'd rather never play. If you want to answer that down in the comments, I think that would be kind of a fun thing to see how people responded to that. But in real estate, we love to win the contract. And so currently, we are running up against a couple of situations with, again, multiple offers seem to be coming back on the table. And it's not quite as frenzied as it was at one point in time, but I felt like this was a good time for both buyers and sellers to talk about winning the contract. So how we help our clients depends on the side that we're representing. So I'm going to start with the buy side if I'm representing the buyer. And the solution, really, on both sides, no matter who we're representing, comes down to the same document. And that document is an escalation clause. So let's start with the buyer. How can a buyer use an escalation clause to their benefit, especially when they run up against a situation where they're potentially competing against 2, 3, 4 other offers, and they have no idea what those offers are? Okay, so let's just say that a buyer goes in at a certain price, and we're going to use nice round numbers. Let's say the price they go in at is $410,000 on a $410,000 listing price of a home. And the agent comes back and says, "Hey, just want to let you guys know we have multiple offers on the table." Well, I take that information back to my buyer. My buyer generally says, "Jeremy, what should we offer?" So we can look at what the property could potentially appraise for. We could look at discretionary funds. Maybe could they bridge a gap if it didn't appraise for what it needed to. But the key here is we got to win the contract first. So my question to them becomes, what are you willing to walk away from this property? Like, what price are you willing to walk away? You're like, if someone bids that price, they can have it. I don't want it because I feel like they overpaid for it. That's the first question. So let's say in our example of $410,000, the person tells me, "You know what, Jeremy, I really, really, really like this home, and I'd be willing to go as high as $418,000. Okay, so we've got an $8,000 gap here. Well, I could go back and say, "Hey, Mr. and Ms. Seller, agent, we will give you $8,000 more for this property." I could go ahead and give away the farm and just give them their highest and best offer. Or I could use an escalation clause. And what an escalation clause does is it allows the buyer to move up in increments based on other offers that might be on the table that they cannot see. So let's assume for a second that we say, we're going to give you a $410,000 offer with an escalation clause of $1,000 over the highest bona fide offer up to $418,000. Now, what that does is it allows for the potential that those other offers that are on the table came in under $410,000, because if they did, $410,000 is the highest that seller is going to get. But it also allows for those offers to go anywhere between $410,000 and $418,000 and us still win the bid war. So let's just say it goes to $415,000. Well, then all we have to do is we're going to $416,000 based on our escalation clause. We save $2,000. If it's $411,000, we're only going to $412,000, therefore saving, the $6,000. So it allows for that offer to escalate in $1,000 increments. Now, here's the key. You say, "Well, Jeremy, what if they just make up the fact that they have an offer just to get you to go to $418,000? The key in the escalation clause is the bona fide part. That language is in there specifically because they have to present to us an actual offer signed by a buyer that is still within contract terms of acceptance date and all that sort of a thing. It has to be a legitimate offer. And it has to be submitted so that we can look at it and see they just weren't making it up. And so that is a way that we are able to score the win while keeping the out-of-pocket expense for the buyer as minimal as possible up to the point where they say, I'm out. Okay? And so that is a mechanism that we have used several times in order to win contracts. Now, let's reverse it for a second. Let's say that we're representing the seller. We're trying to help a seller get the very most out of their property they possibly can get. Okay? If we are on the other side of that and we receive multiple offers, we could go back and say we want everybody's highest and best offer. And you say, well, that it seems to me, Jeremy, that those people would come back and give you that 418 or whatever. Now, here's why I think an escalation clause works to the benefit of the seller as well. If multiple offers have escalation clauses, what it does, it maxes out those escalation clauses all the way up to the top of what each individual buyer is willing to do. And if in the buyer's head they're believing that it's only $1,000 that separates them from the other offers, they are more apt to not want to miss that house by that amount of money. Therefore, they will push their limit over what they may have went to if they would have just come up with a number and given it as their highest and best. And so some agents think it's just a lot more work to have to look through the escalation clauses and get them to see where they're actually landing and then compare the offers. It's really not that much work. It really is not. It does take some insight into looking at the terms and those kind of things to see what the overall best offer is. But I think the escalation clause document is good for buyers. It is good for sellers. It gets the buyers at the best possible price while not going over what they don't want to pay. It gets the sellers the most amount of money for their property in that situation where there's multiple offers. And so depending upon who we're representing is how we're going to place or ask for this escalation clause, or whether we're going to say, hey, listen, this is a good opportunity for you to use an escalation clause. But this is the way that we at Excellecore Real Estate win in these transactions. And so it is, you do need some savviness to your realtor. And so especially if you're in Central Florida, I'm expecting you to use me as your realtor. If you're outside of Central Florida using this video to help you as either an agent or to negotiate or maybe to take this video to your agent, just know, utilize that escalation clause to get that contract at your best possible terms, whether you're a buyer or a seller. Just know your position and how you're going to negotiate. Ultimately, what we want to do is play the game to what? Win. We want to win. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us. You can, if this video has been beneficial to you, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to it. If you give it a thumbs up and like it, that does help me out. And I always want to bring value to the table. So again, if you want to go and check us out, if you're in Central Florida, need help buying a house, selling a house, go to ExcellecoreRealEstate.com. You can find that in the description. You can follow us on all social media. Love to help you out when it comes time to selling your next home, buying your next home. We love the opportunity to win, playing to win. We ain't playing around here. We're playing to win. All right. Talk to you guys very soon.